Welcome to Game Changers Live from Miami, Florida. My name is Sergio Tigera. I'm your host. And each and every week, we bring you someone who has been a game changer in their field and who's touched the lives of thousands to get their perspective on their journey, their mindset, their struggles and successes so that we can inspire you on your journey. So let's get started right now. And welcome to Game Changers Live, everyone. You can catch us each and every week on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Google Podcasts, any of your favorite platforms, including YouTube. And we're very happy to say that we're now a top 2% podcast in the world. So thank you so much for your support. Make sure to subscribe and like and share this with a friend who needs to hear it. So normally on every week we have on a special guest, and that's going to continue. But I wanted to take some time out to do a solo episode today. And we know that we are at the start of the year, and actually 30 days have already gone by. The first month has already gone by. It seems like we were just popping bottles on New Year's yesterday, and our first month has already gone by. And my question to you is, are you clear on your goals for this year? What do you want to accomplish? And let's talk about goal setting for a little bit, because I think it's the right time to do it, and it's not too late. Most of us don't have really clear and vivid goals in mind. And there's a power in, number one, being very clear. It creates intention and it creates clarity, right? Because it's like looking through a foggy lens. If you know directionally where you're heading, okay, fine, you know directionally where you're heading, but it's not that you know exactly where you're going. And for your mind to find the clues and give you the motivation and the drive to get there, it really needs to be vivid, okay? So a couple things. Number one, you want to write down your goals, because that boosts achievement by 42%. And those studies have shown that. So number one, as you get clear about what you want for your family, for your work, for your career, for your health, your fitness, your travel, whatever it is, right? Being very clear and writing them down. Now, how does this work? Our brains, our mind has a thing called the reticular activating system. This is not new. It's been around. It's in science, right? You can find it's all science-backed research, but it's essentially a net-like group of cells, and it runs from the prefrontal cortex up to the back of your brain, and it acts like a filter system. And why do we filter? Because if not, we'd be bombarded by information all day long. We wouldn't be able to focus on anything, right? So when you're focusing, let's say, on me right now, you're not being distracted by the cars going around you, the airplanes flying above, some other conversations that are happening. You're focused, and that's because of that RAS for short, reticular activating system. Now, what gets let in there are things of importance. So let's say you set a goal, and your goal is to not get fired this year. That's not a very good goal, right? If you want to strive in your career, and let's say you want to make partner, okay, well, that's a good goal. You want to make a partner level, or you want to get a raise. Okay, well, why? What's that going to do for you? How does that change your life? And go deeper and deeper and deeper as to why you're going after something, why it's important to you, because that is what creates emotion. And emotion is a primary driver of us achieving and reaching our goals. So figure out the why after writing the goal, right? Let's say you want to lose some weight. And let's say you're at, 200 pounds now, and you want to get to 180, and you're at 25% body fat, you want to get to 20%. Okay, well, there might be a health reason for that. But does that get you excited? No, not really, right? You want to feel better in your clothes. You want to look good out here in the South Florida sun. Whatever those drivers are, kind of dig deeper, right? Dig deeper as to when you start feeling the emotion, then you know you're getting close to the real goal, right? Because we want to feel the strength of emotion and clarity, and we want to know, close our eyes and know what it tastes like, feels like, smells like, what people are going to say, how I'm going to feel about myself, what it's going to do to my confidence, whatever that is. So it's much more than just, writing a goal on a piece of paper. Yeah, that helps, but that's just the first step. All right. So I want to share something with you guys, and a little process that you can go through today to start working on setting your goals. All right. So the first thing is that we want to take a snapshot of where we are today in our lives. So this is a basic balance wheel, right? You can find versions of this online anywhere, but it's a great start. So if you think about the center of the wheel being 0, and as you go out towards the edges, that's a 10. And so the 10 being the very best you can possibly be, 0 being the worst or the least in each one of these areas. So let's check, like, for example, money and finance. If you take a snapshot of where you are today in each of these categories and put a little dot next to that line that corresponds to the number. So let's say you're at a 4, right? And you say, okay, well, I want to be at an 8. So what does that mean? Maybe that means contributing 8% of my salary or my wages towards a 401k or a Roth, or I want to save for my kids' school because they're going to school that's coming up. We want to make that a goal. Okay, first thing, take a snapshot of where you are in all these areas of your life in the circle, and then put a dot going out as to where you want to be. Okay, when you get done with that, I want you to choose, I don't know, 2 or 3 of these. Let's not focus on everything. Let's not try to eat the elephant in one bite. Focus on about 2 or 3 of these here and write out the goal. Very simple, right? Just kind of put the fact down as to what do you want to achieve. All right, next step, when we get through with that, we're going to talk about how to write out a goal so that it imprints in your mind a visual, right? Because we move towards what we think about. And so we got to create that vision of what we're thinking about in a very specific way so that we look for the clues. Remember I talked about the RAS, this reticular activating system, right? And it lets in things that are important. So you notice the things that are important to you. When you set a goal that's very vivid, that's considered important to you, your mind will start picking up clues that are associated with that goal. So, for example, the classic example is the car you drive. Whatever car it is that you're driving, think about the time when you were about to buy it, about to purchase it or lease it. You hadn't done it yet, but you had already made up your mind that that's the car you wanted. Well, didn't you start seeing those cars all over the place? Everywhere, right? And they've always been there, but you'd never noticed them because they weren't important to you. That's how it works, right? So if you are going after a certain job, a certain position in a certain industry, all of a sudden you start seeing in your feed people that work in that industry or that have a certain title or that are connected to a certain person, or an article comes out about that. Right? Let's say you're interested in going into crypto. All of a sudden you start seeing notices of events everywhere. Well, that's because you declared important in your mind. You said, that's what I'm interested in. Well, your mind starts looking for it. And the other thing is that your brain doesn't know the difference between something real and something imagined. Okay? So bear with me a second here with this, right? Come with me. If you say that you want to be at 180 pounds and 20% body fat, okay, so then I want you to create a couple sentences around what that feels like, as if you've already achieved it, okay, because that's going to make that heat-seeking missile in your mind in terms of figuring out ways to develop the drive and the energy to get there much easier, okay? So when you say, I want to be 180 and 20% body fat, I want you to write out some statements that follow this formula, okay? Present tense, personal, precise, positive, and passionate. So what do these mean exactly? So present tense, I want you to write it out as if you've already achieved it. So not I'm going to, or I intend to, or I will do this. Forget about that. You're there already, okay? So you're tricking your mind. You're playing a trick on your mind, but it works, okay? Write it out as if you've already achieved it. The other thing is use personal words like I am, I have, like I have this already, I am this already. A lot of our goals, when we talk about what we want, what a lot of times what stops us is because we are not who we need to be in order to get to where we want to go. So who do we need to be? Who do we need to become to get to where we want to go? So if we want to be a top leader, but we're afraid of speaking in public, an affirmation may be around, I am a great and influential public speaker. I love speaking in front of crowds because it energizes me. All right. That may be farthest from the truth right now for you, but that's the kind of statement that you got to create in your mind so that you build yourself up inside before you get the results on the outside. Okay. This is an inside job, not an outside job. Fix the inside first and the outside will fix itself. So present tense, personal, precise. We all know about SMART goals, right? The more precise we are, the more likely we are to get there. If I tell you to put into GPS to go to Orlando, okay, sure, you'll drive north from Miami to Orlando, but once you get to the general vicinity, where do you go? Well, you don't have specific directions, right? But if I tell you to go to Disney World in this specific parking lot, you can put it in the GPS and it knows where to turn and how to get there and what time you're going to get there and everything, right? So we want to set up our goals as specific as possible and in a way that generates excitement about these goals. And if you're not excited about it yet, you got to keep digging and asking, okay, why? Why is this important to me? Make it positive. So describe what you want, not what you're avoiding, okay? Because remember, your mind directs you to whatever's on there. So a funny story, and we can all relate to this. As kids, when you start riding a bike, right? You're riding a bike, you're kind of looking down, you're looking up, you're looking down, you're trying to get your balance. And if somebody says, hey, don't hit that rock, what do? Where does your mind go? To the rock. And it's almost like you're steering straight into the rock and you don't want to go there, but you can't help it. So think about what you want, not what you don't want, because your mind doesn't know the difference between wanting and not wanting. It just says rock and it's going to give you rock. Okay. So describe what you want, not what you don't. And finally, passionate, right? You want to have excitement around your goals. You get excited about vacations and you can envision being there in the Mediterranean or being on a mountain somewhere or being on the beach somewhere and drinking a pina colada and how cool that's going to be. And you can just daydream about it. That's the kind of visualization and excitement that you want around your goals. Okay. So present tense, personal, precise, positive, and passionate. So here's a little example. Your current reality is that I'm always late for everything. And your vision, your goal is that you want to be on time every time. So an affirmation or declaration or a sentence that you can use to support to describe this is this one. So being 5 minutes early energizes me and I like watching everyone else arrive. Okay, simple. So I want you to start writing out some of these affirmations because remember, you're creating new neural pathways in your mind. So rather than going down the same old beaten path that you've been going down that has led you to where you are today, and you know you could be so much more in your life, go start creating these new neural pathways. These are, you got to work on yourself. You got to invest in yourself. You got to create these things intentionally so that you could then create a reality that you've been wanting to have for such a long time and that you deserve. All right. So homework as you go throughout this month. And, we are not done by any means, right? We're a month in and doesn't mean you're too late. You're still on time to set your goals. Remember last year, we just finished last year. How great would it be in 11 months from now for you to say, wow, I really knocked it out of the park because I was intentional about my goals, about my dreams, about what I want for myself, my family, my mental health, my spiritual health, my emotional health, my physical health, everything, because I was clear up front. All right, guys, be a game changer in someone else's life and keep sharpening the saw. One of the things I talk about a lot is the 7 Habits of Highly Effective People by Stephen Covey. If you haven't read that book, definitely check it out because it really helps guide you and your life. And that's one of the main messages there is sharpening the saw. So when we're talking about this as adults, let's talk about accountability, right? Because we all have accountability in our lives. And now more than ever, we have lots of pressure coming at us from all angles. Now, if you have in your job, you have accountability from work, right? You have your supervisors, your bosses, etc. At home, you have your family, your spouses, your kids, your mom, your dad, your cousins, right? Holding you accountable for doing different things around the house or spending family time together. But where is the personal accountability coming from? I'm talking about the personal accountability, doing the things that you know you should be doing, and you're giving yourself a pass. And we all know what that feels like. We all know that guilt trip that we give ourselves, but we tend to put ourselves and sharpening our saws in the back seat. And that's why we've created the Game Changer community, because this is a mastermind level community that is supportive, that provides that personal accountability, that provides that space where you can share your wins, because we don't want to sound like we're bragging to people, but hey, you know what? You need people to celebrate your wins with, and for them to be genuinely happy for you, to be supportive, and also give feedback when you need it and when you want it, and a place where you can give feedback and share your ideas with others who need it. So we all need a community, right, of supporters. And what better place than a Game Changer community? And so that's forming now. If you're interested in this and finding out more information, go to sergiotigera.com/community. sergiotigera.com/community. We're going to have monthly mastermind meetings, quarterly panel, Game Changer events that are just for invited guests that are members of the community. We have a number of Game Changer challenges throughout the year and a number of other benefits that are included in this. And this goal setting session, for example, this message that I'm sending to you today, that's part of it, right? We had a session last night about this. So for those of you hearing this that were there, props to you guys. We love having you there as some founding members. So if you're interested, make sure to go to sergiotigera.com/community, and we'll set up some time to chat. And next week, we're going to have on some amazing guests as continuing, and we have some really big news coming up. We won't be sharing that just yet until it's official, but we're really excited about the future of Game Changers. Please share this with your friends. Ask them to subscribe. Make sure you're subscribed on the YouTube channel. We can't do this without your support. Thank you so much for being a part of Game Changers, and be a game changer in someone else's life today. If you loved what you heard in today's episode of Game Changers, please subscribe and rate us. The lessons and the stories in these podcasts are immensely valuable, so I invite you to share them with a friend who needs to hear it. You may end up being the game changer in their lives.